All praise to Yahweh Shemel Shah. Double honor to the apostles and the masters. I'm Nawala. Come next another video. And as you can see, this is an article from the Washington Post. Posted April 3rd, which is yesterday, 2020. It says a border city is handing out $1,000 fines for those who don't cover their faces. The mandate has led to confusion. See? So now a border city, which we're gonna find out what border city it is handing out $1,000 fines for those who don't cover their faces. It says people are seen walking on the streets of downtown in Loredo, Texas last month. Soon after officials in Loredo, Texas voted to fine residents who venture out in public without covering their faces, confusion rippled across the bilingual border community in the Rio Grande, or Grand. Maybe it's pronounced Grand. Rio Grande is big in Spanish. And it said bilingual border, so it might be Rio Grande. It says, where were residents supposed to get masks, considering the drugstores had sold out long ago? Did you have to cover up in your own car? Did you have to cover up in your own car or at work? Would you mask anchors deliver the evening news? And was the city seriously suggesting that people conceal their faces when entering the bank? Check that out. Because you don't want to go to the bank to get a deposit or to deposit something or withdraw something and your face is covered. You would take the mask off, but still, why would you want a bunch of people going to the bank with a mask on their face? That looks suspicious. Anyone could be trying to rob you, pretending as if they're a person who's worried about the coronavirus. It says the emergency mandate, which went into effect early Thursday, appears to be the first of its kind in the country. As the Washington Post, Arelis Hernandez reported, other communities, most notably Los Angeles, have strongly suggested wearing masks to curb the spread of the novel coronavirus. But Loredo is taking a far more aggressive approach, threatening to punish those who don't cover their noses and mouths with the $1,000 fine. Now, if you pay attention to the amount of deaths that have occurred due to the coronavirus, it really isn't that many. The coronavirus, I believe, I'm not sure the exact amount, but it has a high recovery rate, somewhere in the 80, upper 80, 90 some odd percentile. But what they're trying to do is condition the masses of the people that this coronavirus is more serious than what it actually is. More people die from the flu every year than the coronavirus. Okay? There really aren't that many deaths. But what's obviously occurring in the United States of America is not only a social distancing, but a social conditioning of this idea that the coronavirus is this type of disease that's wiping out people in mass, which is really not wiping out people in mass in America. I believe less than 2% of people. I believe in accordance to the amount of there's over 100,000 cases of coronavirus in America, and about less than maybe about 2% of people with the who've been found positive have actually died from it. So it's really not as serious as they're trying to portray it is. But this is just a practice of government control. It says, I'd rather bury them in debt than bury them in a coffin, City Councilman George Altschit said during a special session on Thursday. The directive has been controversial, given that roughly a third of the Loredo's population lives at or below the poverty line, and there's no global consensus on whether mandatory face coverings can significantly slow the spread of the virus. For weeks, public health officials in the United States have been discouraging people who aren't sick from wearing masks and emphasizing the need to save protective gear for healthcare workers. Let me get some scriptures real quick. All right, this is the book of Isaiah chapter 10, verse 1. Woe, meaning war or destruction, woe unto them that decree unrighteous decrees, and that write grievousness which they have prescribed. That's an unrighteous decree, and that's a grievous that has been prescribed. How can you sit there and say that you're going to fine people $1,000 for not covering their face or for not covering their nose or their mouths? Yet it just made mention that there's a large portion of the city that is below the poverty line. That's ridiculous. So now you're trying to capitalize financially off of this despair. Not to mention various drugstores. They mentioned that drugstores are also closed, and various other stores. So where are they gonna get all of these masks from? It's ridiculous. They're already below the poverty line. Um, there's a record number of people unemployed, and you actually expect these people to pay a $1,000 fine if you actually give them a fine. So this is a practice of government control and a practice of taking advantage of a crisis. Okay, let's go back. So as we read, it says a third. Well, that's a lot. A third of the population at is at the poverty line. That's a lot. Let's keep reading. That's one of every three. It's 33.3%. But many scientists are skeptical of that advice, and officials at the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention are considering recommending that homemade cloth masks be worn in public. The Post reported on Monday. So there's some people may wear homemade cloths. Okay, this is a post somebody put on Twitter. Key reading says, as of Thursday night, 65 people in Loredo had tested positive for COVID-19, and 5 deaths have been attributed to the virus, according to statistics provided by the city. Many feared that the numbers could grow much higher, given Laredo's proximity to a major international border crossing. While only essential workers and commercial trucks are allowed to enter the United States from Mexico, they have been closed for additional precautions, and the city has enacted a curfew from 10 p.m. to 5 p.m. We're next door neighbors to a country that's not even taking this seriously, Aldrich said at Tuesday's special council session. So now they want to say, oh, basically saying, oh, we're close to Mexico and they aren't taking it seriously. Now they're trying to put the blame on them as to make it seem as though this is the reason why they're doing this. They just want to get money out of the people. Some of the Laredoans question the wisdom of imposing steep financial penalties at a time of widespread unemployment. See that? And have suggested on social media that the mask ordinance is a cash grab devised to raise municipal revenue. Lawmakers, see, think about that. There's a large amount of unemployment, and if a lot of people aren't traveling, using buses, using trains, how would this town be getting money? You know? Lawmakers, however, say the measure is intended to emphasize that each individual citizen has a responsibility to help flatten the curve. More post. All right, it's more here. We ain't gotta read the whole thing. In fact, no, I'll read some more. It says, we're not trying to drown people in debt. We're trying to get a point across. City Councilman Martinez said at Tuesday's session. The point is making it very clear to everyone that as a government body, we think this is important. As the first U.S. city to mandate mask or other face coverings, Loredo has had to figure out exactly what that means. Initially, the Loredo Morning Times reported council members voted to require people to cover their noses and mouths every time they went outdoors, but that proved to be far too broad, and the directive was tweaked to specify that people should cover up inside buildings that open to the public, at the gas pump, on public transportation, or while taking Uber or Lyft. The regulations continue to be a work in progress. Loredo Mayor Pete Sainz has told reporters during a Wednesday news conference he acknowledged that he received calls from bank tellers who didn't feel comfortable with people entering the lobby with masks on. We're trying to go through and see if we can carve out some common sense approaches to it. Well, if you want to make a common sense approach to it, then you wouldn't talk about giving those $1,000 fines for those who don't have their nose or their mouths covered. All right. It says, Sainz said, I know some people feel that we're infringing on their liberty, but safety and lives are first and foremost, so please bear with us. Where to get masks has been another source of confusion. During Tuesday's council session, at least one member floated the idea of allowing Hobby Lobby to reopen so that people could purchase fabric and make their own. But that wasn't feasible because the craft store is considered a non-essential business under an executive order issued this week by Texas Governor Greg Abbott. See if we can find what executive order that is real quick. Yeah, see, this is from gov.texas.gov. Governor Abbott issues executive order implements statewide essential services and activities protocols. See? All right. So this is it right here. All non-essential businesses. All right. It says Governor Greg Abbott today issued an executive order implementing essential services and activities protocols for the entire state of Texas. The protocols direct all Texans to minimize non-essential gatherings and in-person contact with people who are not in the same household. The governor's executive order renews and amends his previous order enforcing federal social distancing guidelines to COVID-19, including closing schools and instructing Texans to avoid eating or drinking at bars and restaurants. The protocols allow exceptions for essential activities and services based on the Department of Homeland Security guidelines on the essential critical infrastructure workforce. Examples of these essential services include healthcare, grocery stores, banking and financial services, utilities, child care for essential service employees, and government services. And down here it mentions other things that they don't allow. Right here, it says the executive order renews and expands the governor's previous directive to minimize social gatherings and minimize contact with people who are not in the same household. It also renews the governor's directive to avoid eating or drinking at bars, restaurants, and food courts, and visiting gyms or massage establishments, and expands the order to include tattoo studios, piercing studios, and cosmetology salons. And there's a lot of other information as well. But let's go back. Let's get another scripture. This is Proverbs chapter 29, verse 12. If a ruler hearken to lies, all his servants are wicked. So right, if a ruler hearkens unto lies and to deceit, then all of his servants, meaning all those that serve that ruler, are wicked. Because those servants are serving the ruler that's hearkening unto lies, hearkening unto deceit. Therefore, those servants, their duties of service are duties of deceit. Because they're doing the will of a deceitful ruler. Okay? So the mayor may pass, what did they say did that? The mayor? Let me go back. Okay, so the Texas governor, Greg Abbott, signed an executive order to close down non-essential businesses. But I'm trying to get to the point. The mayor, what was the mayor's name? Bear me 1 second. Councilman George Outjet. Yeah. Councilman George Outjet. All right. Yeah, Councilman George Outjet. So you have the councilman. You have another councilman, Marte Martinez. All of them are pushing for this. Even the Loredo mayor, Pete Sainz, they're all sitting there saying they're all supporting this idea of making people pay $1,000 fines for not covering their nose and covering their mouths, claiming that they're doing it to protect people. It's not about protecting people. It's about getting money. That's what it is. Because if you know that there's such mass unemployment going on throughout the country, and if you also know that a third of your population are below the poverty line, you would expect them to be more lenient with fines. You would expect them to be more lenient. This is ridiculous. This is truly an expansion of government powers of controlling the citizens. Okay? Let's go back. Sirach chapter 10, verse 1. A wise judge will instruct his people. Sirach is also known as the book of Ecclesiasticus, which is found in the Apocrypha, which is originally part of the Bible between the books of Matthew and Obadiah. A wise judge will instruct his people, and the government of a prudent man is well ordered. As the judge of the people is himself, so are his officers. And what manner of man the ruler of the city is, such are all they that dwell therein. So the people are going to have the manner of the ruler, and the officers are going to have the manner of their judge, or the manner of their superior. Because the officers, all they're going to do is administer the laws, or rather, all they're going to do is dole out the punishments of the laws that their superiors have laid out. So guess what? If people going around not covering their nose and not covering their mouths, you can expect the officers to start handing out what? They're handing out fines to the people. putting people in even greater debt. And then eventually, if you can't pay your debts, what will happen? You get put in prison. You get locked up. You know, and the number of money that you owe increases. It says, and what manner of man the ruler of the city is, such are all they that dwell therein. So the people are going to have a similar manner to their ruler. They're going to believe, oh, our government is doing the right thing. Our government is trying to protect us. As a matter of fact, you see that here. See what this person posted on the internet? Proud of Loredo for being cautious and doing their part in dealing with the situation. However, you should also be providing face masks to people that can't get a hold of any before finding people. Just a thought. You know? She's actually proud of them for dealing with the situation. They don't really care about the people. Truth be told, it's all about money. If you know anything about government is all about money and always has been. Because if they really if they was really trying to protect the people, they would do what this woman also said in her post. Which is what? Providing face masks to those that can't get a hold of it. That's what they should do. It's common sense. You telling me you could take all of these masks that people are hoarding? They said it was a Brooklyn man, they said they got over like 1 million masks from, or somewhere in the thousands. I'm not sure exactly. It was some astronomical number. I don't know how true it is. Maybe it was group of people that they said they got masses of masks from, but the fact of the matter remains is they're saying that they took masks from people that was hoarding masks. You telling me you can't provide people with masks? That's ridiculous. I'll read the rest of the article. It says, while some worry that Loredo's new policy will exacerbate the existing shortage of medical masks, local businesses ranging from bridal salons to children boutiques have started making and selling their own fabric versions, and others have poured in. Other Loredoans have been posting DIY tutorials, or I guess that means do-it-yourself, on social media, demonstrating how to turn a bandana or shirt into a makeshift mask. All right. At Wednesday's news conference, Loredo City Manager Robert Eads clarified that bandanas and scarves will be considered acceptable as face coverings. The requirement was to cover one's mouth and nose, not necessarily to wear a mask, he said, which is good. So at least I say which is good. I mean, at least those who can't get masks can get masks themselves, so they ain't gotta pay fines. But still, in all, by you saying that those people don't have their face covered, there's gonna be people out there that don't have their face covered, and that's gonna give them that chance to get that money. We're begging you not to seek out N95 masks from our medical community. He added, that should be reserved only for them. That's ridiculous. N95 is actually a good mask. That's actually a mask that actually filters out. It actually filters. It's a mask with a filtering mechanism on it to prevent certain types of particles and dust and so forth from actually getting into your nose. It's ridiculous. People got that all over construction sites. Come on now. N95 be specifically for them. That's ridiculous. That's definitely not right. You know, on construction sites, N95 masks are actually like the best masks to get. Some of the best masks to get. If you're gonna get like a regular type of mask on your face, that's the best mask. One of the best masks to get. Some of them even actually have a filtering mechanism on the front of the mask. This one doesn't have it, but some of them actually do. They have a filtering mechanism on the front of the mask. See that? They don't have it here, though. They don't have the picture here. Oh, it's right there. 200,000 masks seized. Some right here says doctors say hospitals are stopping them from wearing masks. Says distribute 200,000 N95 masks seized from coronavirus border. Let me finish this here. Officials have emphasized that police officers and judges will have discretion over whether to levy fines, but they hope that the threat of the pricey citation will, at the very least, serve as a warning to take the virus very seriously. Even if there are people even if there is an increase in people covering their faces, the fact of the matter is the amount of people that don't, that fine is so hefty that it'll basically make up for everyone that do. It's like they're gonna have some people that's gonna park next to a fire hydrant, some that don't. But those that park too close pay a pricier fine than people who just, let's say, might not move their car across the street and when there's alternate parking. You see what I'm saying? So that $1,000 fine gonna make up for all of those people who are wearing their masks. So it's still a money grab. The whole point of this is for people to stay safe in their homes. City of Loredo spokesman Rafael Benavidez told the Post on Thursday, "We want people to think twice before running out the door about whether it's necessary." So with that, I'm going to close. I'm going to say, oh, praise Yahweh, Shem Yahshua. I hope you both learned something. I'm going to say Shalom. This is a quick lesson. Shalom.